1928. Leavenworth Federal Penitentiary. A guard hands a prisoner a pencil and some paper, mostly out of curiosity, not kindness. The man doesn't say a word. He just starts writing. Over the next few weeks, he fills page after page. His childhood, his crimes, what he believes. Nobody asked him to explain himself. He does it anyway. What comes out is one of the darkest confessions in American history. He isn't looking for pity. He isn't looking for forgiveness. He wants the world to know exactly what he did and why. His name was Carl Panzram, and what you're about to hear is not a cry for help. It's a confession from a man who never once said sorry. Carl was born in 1891 on a failing farm in rural Minnesota. His father left early. His mother was left alone, exhausted, overworked, with no patience left for a difficult son. By age 7, Carl was already stealing, fighting, breaking into houses. By 11, he was drinking. That same year, authorities shipped him off to a reform school for what they called incorrigible behavior. What happened inside that school didn't fix him. It built him. It wasn't discipline. It was cruelty, dressed up as correction. The goal wasn't to help the kids inside. It was to break them. Carl later said, that was the moment something inside him turned off. He stopped trusting people, stopped believing anyone was safe, and in the space that was left behind, something darker started to grow. Years later, he'd write, I was taught how to lie, how to hate, and how to hurt. By his teens, he was riding freight trains across the country, stealing whatever he needed, getting arrested under fake names, vanishing before anyone could pin down who he actually was. He became a drifter, always moving, always angry, always carrying a grudge against the entire world. But here's what separated Carl from every other criminal riding those same rail lines. He wasn't stealing to survive. He stole because he liked it. He broke into homes for the money, sure, but also for the thrill, sometimes purely for revenge. One of his targets was the private home of a former president of the United States, William Howard Taft. He took cash, valuables, even a pistol. Then he did something almost nobody expects from a man living out of boxcars. He used the stolen money to buy a yacht, an actual yacht, which he sailed down the East Coast, always under a different name, always one step ahead of anyone looking for him. But this boat wasn't for sightseeing. According to Carl's own account, it became a mobile crime scene. He'd lure people aboard with promises of work or shelter, and they'd vanish without a trace. Many of those disappearances were never connected to him at the time. It's only in his later confession that he described them, in detail, himself. Over the years, Carl went far beyond the U.S. He drifted through Mexico, through Europe, through Africa, always under a different alias. And everywhere he went, the pattern repeated: theft, violence, disappearance. By the time he was finished, Carl claimed to have committed crimes in at least a dozen countries. Now, a lot of what Carl said about himself can't be independently verified. He was, by his own admission, a liar for most of his life. But the consistency of his stories, the specific locations, the eerie timelines that lined up with real disappearances, at the very least, it suggests he wasn't fabricating all of it. What we do know for certain is that he was arrested, over and over, under dozens of different names, and every single time he was locked up, he found a way out. In one case, he bent the metal bars of his own cell, using nothing but his body weight. In another, he faked cooperation just long enough to steal the keys off a guard's belt. He was like a ghost, appearing in one city, vanishing from the next, and with every escape, he seemed to grow bolder, more reckless, more committed to one single personal mission: to cause as much chaos as one man possibly could. Eventually, even Carl ran out of luck. In 1928, after a burglary arrest in Washington, D.C., authorities finally identified him, and this time, there was no escaping it. He was sentenced to a long term at Leavenworth, and this time, something was different. Maybe he knew he wasn't getting out. Maybe, for the first time, he didn't want to. He started to open up, not to the prison system, but to a young guard named Henry Lesser, who was one of the only people in Carl's entire life to treat him like a human being. Henry gave him paper, asked him to write down his story. What came out of it wasn't a memoir. It was a psychological profile of a man who had completely disconnected from society, written candidly, with absolutely no apology. He described his crimes not as mistakes, but as choices. He explained, in his own words, how he'd come to see life as a game of power, where causing pain was the only thing that ever made him feel alive. "I don't believe in man, God, nor the devil," he wrote. "I hate the whole damn human race." In one of the final chapters of his life, Carl committed one last act of violence, this time inside the prison walls. A dispute with a staff member turned deadly. Carl was sentenced to death. When asked if he wanted to appeal, he refused, and when asked if he had any last words, he said something so cold, so casual, that even the guards standing right there were stunned. "Hurry it up. I could have done this myself." On September 5, 1930, Carl Panzram was executed by hanging. He was 39 years old. His story faded into obscurity for decades, until the manuscript he left behind was finally published. Today, it's considered by criminologists and historians as one of the most unfiltered looks ever recorded into the mind of a career criminal. And what makes it so chilling isn't just what Carl did. It's how self-aware he was about it. He knew exactly what he had become. He chose it. He embraced it. So, what do we do with a story like this? It's easy to just label Carl Panzram as pure evil and move on. But when you actually peel back the layers, the story gets more complicated and a lot more unsettling. Here was a person shaped by cruelty who became cruel in return. A child hurt by the exact systems that claimed to be protecting him, who grew up to hurt others without a shred of remorse. It's a cycle we still see today, in different forms, in different places. By his own account, Carl claimed to have killed 21 people. Some researchers believe the real number could be higher, but unlike most killers of his era, Carl Panzram didn't keep trophies. He didn't hide bodies. He didn't care whether he got caught. He once said, "For all these things, I am not in the least bit sorry." His only regret was that he hadn't killed more. In the early 1920s, while America was busy roaring with jazz clubs, prohibition, and the rise of the gangster, Carl Panzram was operating like something far darker, an invisible predator, slipping through American cities like a shadow. He wasn't flashy. He wasn't looking for fame, or headlines, or a reputation. He was driven by something else entirely, destruction, for its own sake. There's one story, barely mentioned in the official reports, that has stuck with almost everyone who's studied his life. Near New York, Carl lured a young sailor onto his yacht, the same yacht he'd bought with money stolen from Taft's house. The boy was just looking for work. Carl offered him food, a drink, a bunk for the night. By morning, he was gone. Carl later claimed he killed him, tied a weight to the body, and dumped it into the Atlantic. When asked why, his answer was almost unbearably simple. He was there.